Welcome back to Writing Done Right. Today we want to talk about the steps and the goals and the plans to get your book written this year. Welcome back to the show. I am Tom Morosky, an author and a technology consultant, and today we are bringing you another tip on how to get your book written this year. It is the start of a new year, and everybody is setting out new goals. And if one of your goals is to write your book, maybe it's your first book, I want to talk a little bit about how you can set yourself a good solid plan to get your first book out at the end of the year. Is this attainable? Absolutely. I think my record for the fastest book to the market, I wrote it in 2 weeks, we edited it in about 2 or 3 weeks, and we were to the market in about, I think it took us 6 weeks to get it to the market, 6 to 8 weeks. And so it's possible to do something like that. Now that was a topic I was very knowledgeable on, and it was a 100-page book, no big deal. Some of my books have taken a number of years because of the research needed. My novel, actually, I think I started the novel in August, and it was to the market in May. And that was a basic novel. And so I want to talk a little bit about the goals. Number one, let's go ahead and look at a word count goal. Now, depending on the size of your books, your average self-published novel from an author that doesn't have huge author contracts usually look to about 50 to 75,000 words. That might be a little on the lower side, but that actually gets you a pretty good book. That in of itself is a good first book to bring a novel into the market. And if you're looking at between 50 and 75,000 words, you are only looking at 1,000 to 1,500 words per week. This means that if you want to write your book, then all you need to do is come up with about 1,000 words per week, a little over that, to reach this basic goal. Now, does this mean you sit down one time per week, throw out your 1,000 words, and call it good for a week? The answer is no, because writing a book is never that simple. So let's go ahead and get into some of the steps. Step number one is you want to set yourself a plan. I would like to say, now I personally have 5 days a week where I do something on my writing, and actually I think I usually do about 6 days a week, 5 to 6. For me, getting started, find yourself a 1 hour time block 3 to 4 times per week. Now you might say, well, that's only like 250 words. I could do that really quickly. True, very true. But there's more to writing a book than just sitting down and writing a book. There's a lot of other steps you need to do. There's a lot of other things that you need to accomplish. You need to dedicate yourself time to plan your book and time to write it. You also need to build in some time to edit it. So over your 3 to 4 hours a week that you're going to find, and please find that about that much, you're going to spend a little bit of time in planning, just a little bit of time in understanding what you're doing, maybe understanding the world that you are creating, or understanding the character development. You need a lot more about these characters than you let on in your book. You need to know details, even if they do not actually appear. And then you need to dedicate time to actually sit down and write. You might sit down and do 2,000 words in a day after a week of planning. And so you might do something like that. Don't slow yourself down unless you're feeling a little bit burnt out, because there are actually a lot of other little things that you need to do as you are working on your book. So one of the things you're going to need to do is start working on a website or a landing page, just something to get out there and promote your book. Now, a good place to start is any form of social media, whether you like your more mainstream media, like your Twitter or your Facebook. These are our big mainstream media sorts. There's also alternative media sources like a Gab, a Minds. There's a lot of different options out there. And if you're a brand new person, it might actually be easier to grow on the alternative platforms because there's a lot less competition. So don't completely rule them out. Examine what your audience might want to see and decide what you're going to do. But building that out, still I like having that separate website. I don't like to rely entirely on other people's platforms. So building a website is a really good thing, which could simply be a one-page landing page. You can usually get something like that for a couple $100. And you do want to have a little bit of an idea, start researching now what route you're going to take to actually publish. There's a traditional route, which you're probably not going to start a book this year and get into the professional traditional route by the end of the year. But there is self-publishing, there is hybrid publishing, there are indie publishing companies. All of these would be good places where you could get your book into print by the end of the year. So you need to spend a little bit of time researching your publishing route. I have several videos on this channel talking about how you might want to do that. The other thing you need to do is get yourself some time to edit. I like doing a multi-tiered approach to editing. I'll edit the chapter that I have done, or part of my planning, I might edit the one chapter as I'm preparing to go into the next chapter, get a better idea of how to flow the chapter a little bit better. So that's actually a really good plan to do. And get yourself a list of people you'd like to preview the book with you. This might be just a small group of people. Maybe if you're doing a Bible study or just some other social group in any given week, say, hey, I've been working on a novel. Can I take the time once a week and give you my update? And you could read a chapter that you've written in a week in 10 minutes or less. And so get together, get some good feedback, and once you have a draft done, consider doing a beta read. So have a list of people in mind, send them an email, hey, would you like to beta read my book before I send it out to agents or publishers or editors or anything else? Just get some of the things worked out, get some of the storyline things worked out. They'll invariably find some grammar things you need to get worked out. These are all good steps that you need to do. Now, if all of this sounds overwhelming, don't let it be overwhelming. This is why I want you to find 1 hour 3 to 4 times a week. Spend a little bit of time actually working on your book and a little bit of time figuring out what type of website and what type of art and all of the other things that you might need to do. So the bottom line is, it is perfectly reasonable for you to write a 50 to 75,000 word novel starting here in early January and having it in your customers' hands in December of 2021. And I will encourage you, if that is on your list, make sure you do it. I've been publishing books now for, I think 2014 is when my first book went to print. I have 7 out. We're beta reading an 8th right now, and I have the 9th actually in the solid planning stages. And I'll get that one out pretty soon too. So I've actually averaged more than 1 book per year since I published my first. It's very sustainable, it's very doable, and all it's going to cost you is just a couple of videos or a couple television programs a week to get your book out into print, and I encourage you to do it. Have a look on my channel here. I have a lot of the nuts and bolts about how to actually write and produce your book if you're looking for the self-publishing route specifically. I also have an indie publishing company if you want to reach out to me. Now, I personally, in my publishing group, we publish Christian. So if you're a Christian, definitely reach out. We'll talk about publishing it. If you're not, I might actually know somebody else in the industry that might be looking for a book you're publishing as well. So go ahead and reach out in that respect as well. So there we have it, very simple steps. Let me go through those once really quickly to wrap up the video. Average 1,000 to 1,500 words per week. Plan 1 hour 3 to 4 times per week. Dedicate yourself to planning, writing, and editing. Reach out to some people who can help you beta read your work. Have a little bit of time to get some editing in. Figure out your publishing route and figure out the ways that you're going to tell people about your book. That summed up is how you can get 1 book out in 1 year without much hassle. So thanks for coming along. I hope that we have helped you to get your writing done.